Ms. Adelson has complained about the jail being too loud. The food is not good, but she is in jail. It's not the Four Seasons. All of her necessities are being met.
I've gained more than 1/3 of my body weight here. The diet is all carbs, no protein, and you know, when you get spaghetti with mashed potatoes, cornbread, and white bread, that's your dinner.
The reason that you're saying that you were looking for countries with no extradition was so that you could get back faster in order to be arrested in the U.S.
Donna Adelson finally explains to us why she was planning on going to Vietnam when she was arrested. Now, do we believe her?
But when you were afraid of being arrested, right?
Yes, address this. Yes. Where were you when you were arrested, ma'am?
Charlie Adelson's trial. Isn't it true that you hoped that you could get to the airport before you were arrested?
I wasn't afraid of being arrested.
What were you trying to get to the airport in time for? In that jail
My
cell?
husband and I were literally shocked and traumatized at what had happened to Charlie. And he said, we need to just get some peace. We need to catch our breath. We're going to go away somewhere. And I thought it was a good idea because I couldn't think straight. I really couldn't think straight.
And it just happened to be that a country that you needed to go to get your head your head straight, it had to be a non-extradition country. Got it. Damn, we're such morons. Jesus. Sorry, Donna, we didn't know.
I was so upset, and so was he. And it was his idea. He said, sweetheart, let's go, just get away. We're going to just get away somewhere so we can have some time to think.
Okay, so your testimony is that you weren't trying to go to Vietnam because you wouldn't be able to be extradited from there.
So my husband actually had said, you know, we've been to Vietnam before with friends. We were on vacation, and it really was like a place of peace. And so he said, if we go to a non-extradition country, then if the law enforcement decided that they wanted to arrest you or me, whatever, both, he said, we won't be sitting in a foreign prison waiting months to go back. We could buy a ticket and we could go home. And my understanding was that I could go home and I could turn myself in if that's what they wanted.
Okay, but
She's had over a year to craft this response. Over a fucking year. Damn, she's pretty fucking good. Oh my God. She's pretty good at being convincing. Jesus.
were hoping to make it out of
I'm not
America
convinced.
in time before you were arrested, right?
I wanted to get away. He wanted to get away. That's what we wanted to do. And it wasn't, we spoke to our attorneys. I asked them. They said there's no pending. We purposely called them to make sure it was legal to do it. And they said there's no, what were their words? There's no pending charges and there's no warrants. So you want to go, go. And so you ask your attorneys and they tell you that, I'm going.
But Dan did tell.
She's better than Wendy. I gotta say, she's way better than Wendy. Wendy just came off as like super phony. Wow.
Tell you, as you say in the jail call.
It was Harvey.
Knowing what they're thinking up there, I don't know if you'll make it out in time. I really don't. But that he said you might, or you might get to the airport and they'll stop you. It could happen.
That's what he said.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you went to the airport knowing that they could stop you at the airport. You could end up being arrested.
Yeah, that's what Dan said.
You know what I don't hear anymore? I don't hear the heavy breathing. What happened to the heavy breathing? I think that's the issue. When you claim that you have heavy breathing and shortness of breath and you're suffering from it, you have to make sure you maintain that the entire time. And when your mind is so occupied, like right now addressing the airport arrest, it's hard to kind of multitask and do the two of them.
Okay. The breathing treatment being the albuterol medication that you inhale.
Open.
Okay. But they did do a chest x-ray to see if maybe something more was at play here, and nothing was there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
She's also got some experience of shortness of breath, where inmates and other people are commenting of who the hell is in the room breathing so damn loud.
So this shortness of breath or heavy breathing that you're experiencing, how long has that been going on?
It's been going on several months, probably at least 3 months, I would think.
Okay, and you're experiencing it then during your incarceration. Did you have it prior to being incarcerated?
No, I did not.
Okay. What have you noticed about the breathing, and how would you describe it? Shortness of breath, heavy breathing, what?
I know, I guess it sounds like heavy breathing. It's shortness of breath. I've never had that before. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I've gained more than a third of my body weight here. The diet is all carbs, no protein, and when you get spaghetti with mashed potatoes, cornbread, and white bread, that's your dinner. That's very typical of what we get. And we've had no exercise at all. We're confined, especially in the annex. The annex, we've been confined to our beds almost all the time. Once in a while, we get a pod officer that lets us walk, so you can walk in a circle around the girls' beds. But otherwise, there's no, even if you want to get off your bed and just try to do stretches or wall push-ups or anything, she says, this is not an exercise room, there's no exercising here. We don't get taken outside.
Let me stop you. One of these issues at a time. So with respect to the time period.
Now, I want to direct your attention, we heard the call earlier. The call on November 7th of 2023 at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and for the record, that was call number 561. Do you remember where you worked?
I don't really hear the heavy breathing anymore.
Right. And when you were looking at places to go a couple of days after Charlie Adelson's trial, you were specifically looking, though, for countries that did not have extradition with the U.S.
For the reason I just told you.
Right. And the reason that you're saying that you were looking for countries with no extradition was so that you could get back faster in order to be arrested in the U.S.
No, that's not what I said. It's because, I don't know, maybe we watch too much TV or too many movies, but I've seen movies where people are stuck in third world prisons and waiting and waiting and waiting. And my feeling was,
isn't that usually when you commit a crime in that country? You're in their jail system, and then you have a trial there at that country. And then when you're done with your sentencing, sometimes, you get shipped back to the U.S. and then you got to have a whole ass trial over here too. That happened to Mackie. I forget what her name was, but teenager killed her rich mom, planned it with her boyfriend, and she served 10 years, a fucking joke prison sentence in Malaysia. And then, she came back to the U.S. and they tried her all over again. Then she got sentenced here. If you guys remember the yoga teacher murder trial, the one, I forgot what her name was. Kate? What's her name? Kate? Caitlin? Oh, Caitlin Armstrong. Caitlin Armstrong. Yeah. Oh my gosh, wild. Yoga teacher, went to Costa Rica, got plastic surgery, got her nose done, and basically her face just looks horrible in my opinion because she looked way better before. And she basically got caught. They chased her down in Costa Rica, and then they brought her ass very quickly to the United States. She sat in Costa Rica, holding cell, maybe for a day or so. I don't know, but they brought her back real quick.
this is not what we want to happen. If the state says they want us to come back, we'll buy a ticket. We'll come back on our own terms. We don't have to be...
When she said come back on her own terms, I'm thinking yeah, we'll come back and I don't know, when we're dead, we'll send our coffin back.
else somewhere. We'll come back home and turn ourselves in.
Couldn't you have done that no matter?
Why go to... Oh, gosh, I just don't... God, this is... She is really convincing, though, in my opinion. I think she does a good job of being convincing, but it's bullshit. You went to Vietnam. You weren't planning on coming back because you knew the authorities were honing on you guys. You guys didn't want to be rotting in prison in your 70s. I don't know how old Harvey is, 80s or something like that. You don't want to be rotting in prison that old. It sucks. As you can experience right now, it does suck.
No matter what country you went to?
No.
No?
No.
You couldn't have found out that you had a warrant for your arrest and come back if there was an extradition
Well,
policy?
not if they would. I'm not in law enforcement, but it appears that they would notify law enforcement in that country, and then they could hold you in a jail for God knows how long. And I didn't want that to happen. So he said, well, that's why we'll do it this way, honey. That way, if they do notify us, so we get a phone call from our attorney or from law enforcement, then we'll buy a ticket, we'll go home. And so it would have been on our terms. That was the point. That was the reason that he thought that was a good idea.
It's scary how almost convincing she is. And you know what? I don't know. She might fool the jury. We'll see. Now, Donna Adelson, she wants to be out on bond because she's having all these issues, medical issues with being able to speak privately with attorneys without having other people listening. And she does not like the jail conditions, horrible food, not a good mattress to sleep on, not enough medical attention. One of the things that was mentioned in her motion was she has very little tiny delicate ear canals that needs to be cleaned thoroughly every 3 to 4 months by a specialist ENT, and whatever they're offering in jail, which is like a solution they put in your ear to dissolve your earwax and they clean it for you. That doesn't work. That's not good enough for her. One of the issues she mentioned was her sciatica pain. Now, she said that it was gone for 10 years, but now there is a flare-up that's happening. However, she said that she tried getting a steroid injection and the staff told her that is something they don't do here. However, the state, Ms. Dugan, is going to call out some discrepancies between Donna Adelson and the medical records.
For the sciatic nerve, in December of 2024, were you offered a solumedrol steroid injection for that pain that you declined?
I am going to object to the
Encounter from December 13, 2024 at 3:22 p.m. What does it say? Offered patient a solumedrol injection, and then starting tomorrow a medrol dose pack. Patient requested decline until she can speak with her physician.
I don't know what a cellular injection, but she told me they don't give steroidal injections in the spine. She says we don't do that. And I don't recall her offering an injection. I do remember she said I could give you other medication. But I've been there. I've done that. I know what happens with sciatica, and I know what needs to be done. That's not going to be the answer.
For your arm and shoulder pain, isn't it true that you reported you had mild pain in your left arm and
No.
So
shoulder?
now it's her word against the nurse.
I heard a gentleman say that before. I couldn't believe it. I told her that I had severe burning pain down the outer part of my arm. I never used the word mild pain. So I don't know where they got that from, but that's not what I said.
Okay. I'm going to show you the encounter from February 3rd, 2025 at 2:29 p.m. Under musculoskeletal, does it say positive for left upper extremity limited ROM range of motion, mild pain?
That's what it says, but that's not what I said. No way is that pain mild.
I mean, it's possible that whoever wrote in these medical records could have been wrong twice.
So that's just what the doctor would have written down, but you're saying that's not what you told the
I
doctor or nurse?
did, had that been given to me and I read it and I had to sign it, I would say I never said this. But I'm telling you, I never said mild pain.
Okay.
It's shooting hot pain down my arm.
For that injury, you did have an x-ray. They did go over that x-ray with you and let you know that there was no fracture or dislocation.
There was no fracture, that's what she told me. I didn't think it was a fracture.
Or dislocation of your shoulder or arm.
No, there's just pain.
Donna also claims that sometimes she gets in trouble by the guards because the guards think that she's ignoring them purposely. But she's saying that, no, I have all this earwax built in my ear and I can't hear properly. So I need proper specialists to address this.
I have a problem. I evidently have very narrow ear canals, and so the wax builds up in my ears to the point that, I have officers that say to me, "Are you deaf, Adelson?" When I don't respond to them, it's because I don't hear them. And so I did ask for help in the, I asked the doctor if there was anything they could do for me, and I told her what's normally done, and she said, we use Debrox to soften the wax, and then you come down 3 or 4 days later, and we use a bulb syringe to remove it. And I said, that doesn't work. I need a different procedure. And she said, that's all we can do for you.
Okay.
Now, why are we talking about all this today? It's because the court is conducting an Arthur hearing, which is when someone who wants bond, but normally they are not eligible for bond. Donna is saying that because she has the medical issues, these medical issues can't be addressed where she's at right now. She's got issues with inmate intimidation. What's this word? Inmate intimidation. On top of, being really uncomfortable, sleeping issues, can't get sleep here. it's too loud, the mattress is not comfortable, she's not able to communicate properly with her attorneys because there's people around, they can hear the conversation, the guards can hear the conversation. So Donna, she wants to be out on bond until her trial starts in June. The state has to present evidence that there was a crime that was committed, probably by Donna. And then secondly, they have to prove that she is a flight risk and she is a danger to society, but more focusing on being a flight risk. Donna's also going to testify about her experiences in jail with other inmates.
I was under the shower and I was washing my hair, and I was the only one in the shower. I always go in early morning because there's nobody there. Most of the girls sleep, so I take a shower and I have a little privacy. And so I was washing my hair, and all of a sudden I felt a hand go up my back, like from the top of my butt up my back, and I yelled, "Stop it!" And I turned, and this girl said, "You like it?" And I said, "Get out of here!" And I started to scream, and she ran.
Okay. In the bathroom there, what was this? Which pod was this in?
This is in the annex.
In the annex. Okay. In the annex, are there guards positioned inside the area where you shower?
No.
Inside the area where you use the restroom?
No.
Okay.
So I was in the bathroom. It's 10:30 at night. I went in to brush my teeth.
Okay.
There are three sink stations in the bathroom. Each one has 4 sinks, and I was at the center station with my back to the door, and I'm a righty, so I was holding my toothbrush with my right hand, and I was balancing myself with my left hand on the sink. I was just brushing my teeth. That's all I was doing.
And what happened?
And someone came up behind me and pulled my left hand away from the sink and twisted my arm and like jerked it behind my back, like reaching up toward my neck.
Okay.
And
did it hurt?
Yeah, it hurt.
Okay. What happened?
It hurt. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she's, in the same breath that she did that with my arm, she said, "You're going to buy me commissary." I said, "I'm going to what?" And she said, "Unless you want those pretty white teeth knocked out of your mouth, you're going to buy me commissary." So I said, okay. And then she named a package that she wanted, and she's out. She was gone. She just that fast.
Okay. How bad would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad would you rate the pain at the time that she did that to you?
Oh my God, it was a 10.
Okay.
I didn't know my arm could reach that far back. She's a big woman, and I was afraid of her.
Okay. Approximately how tall would you say she is compared to you?
She's over 6 feet,
Okay.
over 200 pounds. She's
Okay.
a very large woman.
Okay.
I mean, my understanding right now is she's in protective custody, which I don't know is synonymous for just like solitary confinement, I think. Probably.
Did she continue to find you in the bathroom and demand what packages that you would get ordered for her?
Yes.
And-
She must have been keeping an eye on me, but when I was in the bath, those are the only times she would approach me is in the bathroom, and she would tell me what she wanted for that week.
And did you make those orders through your husband?
I called my husband. I didn't tell him what happened. I just called him and said, "Honey, I want some extra food. Would you mind ordering some packages for me?" And he said, "Sure, honey." And he did.
And he did that. And
She said, "Just put it in your shirt. I'll meet you in the bathroom." So I would load these things in the top of my shirt, and I would hold the bottom of my shirt like this so that nothing would fall out, and I'd go to the bathroom, and then somebody would follow me in there, and she would take it out, transfer it into her shirt, and walk away.
that continued from the time that she first yanked your arm behind your back in October all the you were put into protective custody. Is
Yes,
that right?
Yes.
Now, we're jumping around a little bit here, but we're going to go back to the state's cross-examination of Donna Adelson.
The incident in the shower after you let the inmate know that you did not like what she was doing by telling her to stop, did she ever try that again?
No,
And that inmate's no longer, or you didn't disclose the name of that inmate, but you did tell the investigator that that inmate is no longer in jail with you, right?
she's no longer there. She left shortly after that.
Okay. As far as the arm twist incident from October of 2024, you said you reported that in February of 2025?
Yes.
Okay. And you wouldn't give the name, you said you wouldn't give the name of her to the investigator either, okay?
No.
But you, if you would give her name, that instead of you being separated from the pod, she could be separated from you and you could be back with the general population.
Yeah, but she's not the only one that could hurt me. That's why I wouldn't do it. She had a half a dozen girls that came up to me.
Was there ever any physical violence by her or anyone she's friends with after that October
No.
24 incident?
No, that was it, that day.
And by being in solitary confinement, does it give you an opportunity to have a quieter space where you can prepare for trial?
I guess it would be a quiet space if I could get some sleep and I would be able to concentrate on what I'm supposed to do. Yes, that would be helpful.
Do you also get in-person visits with your attorney in jail?
I do.
Okay, and when that happens, are you in a room alone with him or her or both?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And y'all are able to have conversations then that are private?
yes.
So you see where State Attorney Sarah Dugan's going with her line of questioning. She's essentially hinting at Donna that, well, it seems like all the issues that you were complaining about are being solved. Don't let her out on bond. Towards the end of the hearing, the state is going to summarize all the evidence that she has against Donna Adelson. And some of the stuff we haven't really heard yet. Apparently, there were some WhatsApp messages between her and Charlie from 2016 that she didn't delete. Oh, gosh.
Charlie Adelson's trial, I think that the parts of this trial that were most relevant to whether we've met the standard in Donna Adelson's case are the emails that show Donna Adelson's motivation to commit the crime when she voices her hatred towards Dan Markel, strategizes ways to get Wendy Adelson and her sons to live in South Florida. The thousands of dollars worth of checks we saw in that trial that were written to Meg Van Wa, signed by Donna Adelson when Meg Van Wa never worked for the family in any capacity. Meg Van Wa's testimony that Charlie Adelson was the...
Oh, so this is the part one that we're talking about, I think. Phase one? Phase one, prosecution has a burden of proof, meaning they have to show there's no question of the defendant's guilt.
About her being the middleman between Charlie Adelson and the hitman for this murder, and how on July 18th, 2014, which was the night of the murder, that Charlie gave her money at his home, which she then delivered to the hitman. Meg Van Wa saying that she learned that night, the night of July 18th, that Charlie Adelson and his parents had just been at the home. It was her understanding that Donna Adelson had washed the money and the money was damp. For the State's Exhibit 3, which is the travel analysis. Basically, these slides show that Donna Adelson and Harvey Adelson's traveled from their home in Miami to Orlando on the night of July 18, 2014. At a certain point, Donna Adelson texts Charlie Adelson, "I'm outside your house," or "outside your house." Charlie Adelson then responds a little while later with 10 minutes. Cell tower analysis shows that Charlie Adelson is inconsistent with his house 10 minutes later, and when you look at the time it took for Donna Adelson to travel from the area of Charlie Adelson's home to the next point with location data for her, north of Charlie Adelson's home, it shows that it should be about a 45-minute trip, but it shows that it took her 1 hour and 54 minutes. That shows there was 1 hour and 9 minutes unaccounted for during the time when she would have been waiting for Charlie Adelson at his house and could have stayed there for about half an hour once he arrived. And that could be consistent with her taking some of the money to Charlie Adelson's home, as Meg Van Wa describes. Exhibit 4 is the open line jail call we've already heard today. On page 8, she does say, after speaking with Dan this morning, after knowing what they're thinking up there, I don't know if we'll make it out in time, I really don't, but Dan says you make it to the airport or they may stop you. It could happen, but it's worth a try. She then says on page 16 that they've looked it up over and over because things change, whether there's from Vietnam. They could go to Korea or China because there's no extradition there. We are looking for places where there's no extradition. It's Exhibit 6, which is the chat with Vietnam Visa on WhatsApp. In that first message, that service tells Donna Adelson that all of the messages are encrypted and no one can read them. She began on this WhatsApp trying to get the visas during the afternoon of November 7th. That's less than 24 hours after the trial transcripts and State Deposit 2 reflect that there was a jury verdict in Charlie Adelson's trial. Donna Adelson says in that conversation that she needs an emergency fast-track visa for her and her husband. When given the option of 30 or 90-day visa, she chooses 90, unless she can only do 30, and in that case, she'll do it and just extend it. She then sends passport pictures and pays for the visas. Several days later, she says to the service that she's getting nervous because she hasn't received the visas yet, and she's typing all of that in all caps. She says her flight is booked at that point, which is the one-way trip to Vietnam with the layover in Dubai. That's within days of trial.
What a moron. I forgot that she booked a one-way trip. Oh, gosh. Not even a round trip. Like, hey, we actually had, we were planning on coming back. No, one-way trip. Oh, my gosh.
Charlie Adelson's verdict. The chat shows that
They didn't want to spend the money, I guess. They didn't want to spend the money to show that, hey, you might come back.
she got the visa just in time, I think the day before the flight, and then she ended up being arrested on the jetway in Miami right before she boarded the one-way trip to Vietnam. We also have the excerpts from the WhatsApp with Charlie Adelson, State's Exhibit 7. This is a conversation that the court has seen before. We've had a motion hearing about it, I believe, where basically we were able to get these messages in 2023 when Donna Adelson was arrested and we seized her cell phone. This is from the WhatsApp with Charlie Adelson on her phone. These are WhatsApp messages, though, that occurred in August of 2016. And there's a conversation between Charlie Adelson and Donna Adelson where Charlie Adelson is basically workshopping.
She didn't delete her WhatsApp messages from 2016? She was holding on to it for this long? Why?
Ideas that maybe the killer was a coke dealer and that Danny was just buying drugs from him. And they don't mention anything about extortion, which ended up being Charlie Adelson's defense at trial, that he didn't intend for this to happen, that he was extorted, and that he didn't do this. And finally, the letter from the Martel family.
Wait, what was the other one again? Oh my goodness.
Mention anything about extortion, which is a conversation between Charlie Adelson and Donna Adelson, where Charlie Adelson is basically workshopping ideas that maybe the killer was a coke dealer and that Danny was just buying drugs from him. And they don't mention anything about extortion, which ended up being Charlie Adelson's defense at trial, that he didn't intend for this to happen, that he was extorted, and that he didn't do this. And finally, the letter from the Martel family. Given the totality of the evidence in this case, the state does meet the burden under Arthur. The state has met its burden for every defendant who has been charged in this case and had an Arthur hearing. They have all been held in custody until trial, and none of them tried to flee to a non-extraditable country to avoid being charged before arrest. If court somehow believes the state falls short, though, the defendant should still be held no bond because she is absolutely a flight risk, given her past actions. More so now than ever, now that she has actually been charged. What we saw her talking about on the jail call and doing in the visa chat and going to the airport for and getting arrested there, that was all before she was even arrested, when she just knew that the charge was coming. Now she has been charged, she is facing life in prison, so I think she's more of a flight risk than ever when you consider a totality of all of that information. As to the bond argument, we heard from, the Mike Hayden, who's the medical administration. All of the defendants' complaints have been evaluated. Medical staff has treated them. She's been able to see a doctor within a day or two. That is faster than most of us who are out of custody could see our doctors. She was given Band-Aid and Neosporin for the cut on her arm when she bumped into the laundry machine. Sometimes accidents like that happen, and that could also happen to her out of custody as well as it could happen to her in custody to bump into something and get a cut. We heard about her breathing and pain issues. Doctors ordered x-rays to make sure nothing more was going on, and the x-rays were negative. Medical staff can provide treatment for any medical needs, whether it be on-site or them having to go to a hospital, but they also need evidence of what's wrong and what needs to be treated beyond the inmate just saying that they hurt. And to see a specialist, there does need to be a necessity. If there's a necessity, Leon County Jail will recognize that and make the necessary referrals. Ms. Adelson has complained about the jail being too loud. The food is not good, but she is in jail. It's not the Four Seasons. All of her necessities are being met, and she should she bring a medical necessity to the staff's attention, they will continue being met. As far as security is concerned, she wouldn't provide the identity of the inmate that caused the concern.
Donna could have been in a White Lotus right now. She was like, I wish I went to Vietnam, I wish I could have been in the White Lotus. Now, the defense, they are not going to let that hotel comment slide.
We're not asking for a fancy hotel or anything else, and quite frankly, that's a little bit insulting considering the health conditions that she has.
Now, it's always good to have a defense attorney who is going to be your fervent advocator. That's what they're supposed to do. She's going to talk about how Donna doesn't feel like she's being protected in her current conditions, but the judge does interrupt a little bit.
The problem here is not one problem, that health issues are not being taken care of, or sleep is being deprived, or, she's not getting the food that she likes. Nobody's complaining about the fact that she's not getting food that she doesn't like. She's gained a third of her body weight. They can't protect her in the jail. They've testified themselves. There are no cameras inside the area where they use the restroom, the area where they take the shower, where these washing machines are. There are no guards in there. There's no video in there. So if she disclosed the name, which she's willing to do in camera to the court with nobody else present because she knows she's going to be retaliated against, they can't protect her from retaliation. If they put her back in the annex and some girlfriends or friends of this woman that she rats out finds out that she's back in there, they can take her down in the back room, and the guards who are sitting behind a glass being protected themselves aren't even going to know what's happening until it's too late. So providing the name doesn't do that. I have a
Before you
client.
go on, Ms. Fulford, as to the sheriff's role in this, he has a constitutional responsibility to all inmates. Also, your client has the ability to pursue a writ of mandamus if the sheriff will not fulfill his obligations. Is there a reason this has not been pursued if the situation is, as you allege through your motion and testimony?
Because that's not the only issue we have, Judge, which is what I was getting to. What we have before us is a woman who's 75 years old. She's elderly. She has health issues that aren't being addressed, but there's more. She's not getting any sleep. She's given medication between 11:30 and 1:30 at night, maybe getting to sleep by 2 o'clock in the morning, waking back up at 3 or 3:30 in the morning. We're not asking that she get special treatment. She's on trial for her life in a town where everybody believes she's guilty. That for 10 years, it's been the same story, that the mafia mother has planned out this homicide and had Dan Markell killed on this evidence that could be consistent with, and that's not what we have.
Everyone
Maitland is a
else can
cutie.
step out of the courtroom at this point. We
Yeah,
are
she's pretty.
done.
I like her red glasses. Bye, Miss Dugan. You did an excellent job. Here comes Donna. Bye, Donna. So we had an Arthur hearing today. Essentially, Donna wants to be out on bond for the time being until her trial in June, I believe. I believe that's her trial date right now. She wants to be out on bond. She says, jail sucks. Yeah, medical issues. Doesn't have attorney-client private conversations. It's like they're having conversations. Everyone can hear. She talks about getting abused by other inmates, and to the point it was so bad that she, had this like arm injury from being ganged up, and then she had to order commissary for this other inmate, being bullied in jail, intimidation, and not getting proper medical issues, medical stuff addressed, such as getting her tiny little delicate ear canals cleaned by a specialty ENT. But I don't know. We got Donna's version of it. Sarah Dugan did try to rebuke some of this by saying that, like, you said that you needed these like steroid injections into your spine, but it seems like it was offered to you, but you rejected it. And Donna's like, no, that's not true. It was never offered to me. They said that they don't do that type of thing. And then Sarah Dugan also brought up the medical record where it says that, well, you reported having mild pain. And she's like, no, I didn't say mild pain. I said it was like extreme sharp pain. So we don't know if Donna's lying, or maybe the person who was writing down the information for the medical records, maybe they wrote it down incorrectly. That could happen. Donna, again, wants to be out on bond, and there are two phases for this Arthur hearing. I'm going to pull this up here. So phase one for the Arthur hearing, they have to talk about that there is no question of the defendant's guilt, which is why Sarah Dugan went up there and addressed, okay, well, here are the reasons why we think Donna is guilty. She talks about the emails, the hate for Dan. There were strategies for getting Wendy to move from Tallahassee to the Miami area. There was checks that Donna signed paying Katie McBenoit. Katie McBenoit was the one who was the liaison for the two hitmen. There was Donna giving money to Charlie, and Donna washing the money, literally washing the money, before Charlie gave it to Catherine McBenoit, and before she gave it to the hitman. And then also Donna's travel route from Miami to Orlando the night of the murder, essentially showing that Donna went by Charlie's house to drop off this large sum of money. They also talk about, what is phase two? Phase two is, whether or not the bond is appropriate. Court will consider things such as the defendant's prior record, seriousness of the crime, and whether or not the defendant poses a flight risk or a danger to society. So prior records, seems like she hasn't been arrested before, but sometimes murder is your first crime. The seriousness of the crime, yeah, pretty fucking serious. Hiring hitmen to kill your daughter's ex-husband just because you couldn't get what you wanted, because you wanted your daughter and the grandchildren to be living with you in Miami. Whether or not the defendant poses a flight risk. Oh, that was funny. We have to address that. And then the danger to society. She probably doesn't pose a danger to society. For the past, 10 years? I don't think she's got anyone killed. But the flight risk thing. The flight risk thing. Well, Donna did testify in the stand today. She basically said that, well, the reason why we chose to go to a non-extradition country is because, let me go to big screen here. It's not because I was trying to flee. It wasn't because, if you guys were planning to arrest me, they wouldn't be able to ship me back from Vietnam to the USA. It's because Harvey was the one. Blame it on Harvey. Harvey was the one who wanted to go to Vietnam. And the reason why we chose a non-extradition country, well, it's because if it's an extradition country and you guys decide to arrest us, they might hold us in the, she said third country prison for who knows how long. And we don't want to be in a third country prison. And so she was like, well, the reason why we chose a non-extradition country is because if you guys, decide to arrest us, we will willingly buy our own tickets and fly back to the country. We don't want to be stuck in this prison or this jail. That was her excuse. And you know what? I think she gave a very, very convincing performance. Do I believe it? Fuck no. No, she went there because she wanted to escape there and she wasn't planning on coming back. She knew that everything was closing in on her and her family. The hitman got arrested. They got convicted. Catherine McBenoit arrested, convicted. Her son, Charlie Adelson, arrested, convicted. She was next. She fucking flee to Vietnam. And she was trying to say that like, oh, I wasn't fleeing to Vietnam. I was planning on coming back. If y'all needed to arrest me, I would have definitely came back. We would have bought tickets. Sure, Donna. Sure. But she sure did have my sympathy when she was talking about the abuse that she was enduring in jail, when she was talking about other inmates, being harassed, being bullied and stuff like that. I don't doubt that she was the target. She's old, she's weak, she's rich, she's white. I don't doubt that she was a target. Now, am I going to believe her story 100%? After hearing her talk about her explanation about the not fleeing to an extradition country, Jesus, it's hard because now I'm 100% for certain. I'm like, okay, she's a master manipulator. We can see her doing it on the stand while she's testifying. Because up until this point, we haven't really seen too much of Donna. I mean, we've heard a lot of jailhouse calls, I guess, but we've heard the jailhouse calls. She didn't testify in any of the previous trials at all. Not even Charlie. She wasn't even in the courtroom in Charlie's trial. And I think it's because she was afraid if she sat there, they might arrest her on the spot if they find something that happens, one of the testimonies or the emails or something like that. I think that's the reason why her and Harvey never showed up for Charlie's trial. Like, think about it. If you think your son is innocent, wouldn't you be there to support him? If you were innocent, wouldn't you be there to support him in real life? But she didn't show up at all. So she talks about how, the food in jail sucks. They feed her nothing but carbs. She gets spaghetti, mashed potatoes, and bread, and then white bread and cornbread or something like that. And she says she's gained so much fucking weight. No access to exercise, lack of sleep. She has a hard time going back to sleep after being woken up to take medication or being woken up for breakfast. It's like, yeah, it probably sucks. She complains about the mattress. It's not good for her sciatica pain, which I can believe. You have a shitty mattress that you're sleeping on, you're probably not going to get a good night's sleep. And then your back, neck pain, shoulder pain. Yeah, I could totally see that. Lack of privacy. However, since these incidents, they have moved her in protective custody, which sounds like solitary confinement. And I think Sarah Dugan, the state, did a really good job at saying, well, now you're in solitary confinement and you've actually said that you prefer to be here because what is it? It's more quiet now. You probably get better sleep and then you probably have privacy preparing for your legal stuff. So I think that keeping her in protective custody until her trial date of June, which is about 3 months away, that's probably the move right there. Having her out on bond, she's still got a wealth of resources. And, she's got friends. It seems like she had friends that were with her when she was planning on fleeing the country. Her estate attorney was there. So yeah, keep her in protective custody. Don't let her out on bond because, who knows what she's going to be doing. Nobody's flying back to be arrested. Please. I know. She's like, I'm such a good person. I was making it easier. I mean, we were going through such hardships with like Charlie being convicted. And oh my God, it was just so shocking. We just needed to go on vacation somewhere. Like, I was planning on coming back. If you guys were going to arrest me and Harvey, we would have came back. What do you mean? We're good people. Like, fuck off. Anyways, so that's today's hearing. That was Donna. We got to hear her testify in the stand. And boy, it's possible that she could be very convincing to the jury. Jesus. Because if you're new to this case, you haven't heard anything. Yeah. But you know what? I'm confident the state would do a good job. I was very, very happy with Georgia Kappelman's cross-examination of Charlie. Sarah Dugan has done a good job too. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. But man, when she was testifying in the stand today, she did a really good job being convincing. Now, another major thing that she was complaining about was having breathing issues. There are points when she was talking about it, and I could hear her heaving on the stand. I'm like, oh, wow, that is pretty loud. But, you know, I didn't notice that when she was explaining the extradition to the country thing, because I think her mind was way too focused on explaining out this lie, and she had a hard time multitasking and then maintaining the heaviness of breathing thing. So I don't know, or maybe the heaviness of breathing comes and goes, but I'm just saying that like when she was being grilled on the stand, I didn't hear the heaviness of breathing anymore. I didn't see the shakiness that she was, I mean, I think at some point she was probably really nervous when she was testifying, but yeah, it's like when your mind is so focused on trying to explain a lie, it's like I don't see the shakiness anymore. I don't see the heavy breathing, or I don't hear the heavy breathing. So maybe, man, maybe she did dupe me for a second there, because I was like, oh, yeah, she looks pretty awful. The judge has reserved their ruling, and there was also a motion to suppress evidence, which is the phone call that Donna Adelson made, and then, oh, sorry, Charlie made the phone call after he was convicted, and Donna Adelson forgot to hang up the phone call, and the recording continued recording it. I didn't recap that, I guess. So essentially, the state was arguing that, well, Donna Adelson didn't hang up the call. She failed to end the call. There is a recording in the beginning that says, you know, your call is being recorded. If you don't want to have the recording, then hang up. And so when she failed to hang up, anything goes.
This is the one on November 7th that recorded you while they were all in the room. You were informed that you were being recorded if you accepted that call.
Yes.
Okay. And that if you do not want to be on that recorded call, that you needed to hang up the call. Is that right?
Oh, that phrasing. If you do not want to be on this recorded call, you hang up. You didn't hang up, Donna. You thought you did, but you didn't hang up.
You're saying, does the recording say,
Right. If you do not want to accept that recorded call, you should hang up.
if you do not, yeah, no, I accepted the recorded call.
Okay.
Oh, she's smart. Oh, she's so smart. Dude, she's so smart. She knew exactly where my mind and her mind went to the same place, okay? Oh, Jesus. She's like, oh, if you wanted to discontinue the recorded call, you hang up? Yes, I did accept the call by answering the call. Yes,
And you typically do hang up your calls, you said, after
I mean, I think I
your
did,
calls
yeah.
with Charlie Adelson when he was in custody. All right, but this particular call that day, evidently, you did not properly hang up, right?
Evidently.
Okay.
The defense was trying to say that there was an expectation of privacy, even though she forgot to hang up. The judge says that he will reserve the ruling on that one as well. So we'll have to wait to see what he rules on, the bond stuff, and then the motion to exclude the recorded call. Take care. If you guys are not caught up with Donna Adelson, we posted a video last week. And then if you're not caught up with Karen Reed, we also posted a video last week. Although I don't know if I'll do a video about yesterday's hearing. Just too much happened. Too much. I don't know if I have that much time that I want to dedicate to it. But that's it for today. You guys have a good one. If you guys haven't already, feel free to subscribe. Support the channel, hit the like button, and like the stream. And all the guys who are here lurking, I appreciate you guys being here. And thank you so much for chatting. Thanks for keeping me busy. Today was wild, but not as wild as yesterday.